Hello, it's good to see you again. Or I don't see you, but it's good to be with you again. Well, we're entering into the season of Lent. And this is going to be a special Lent, you know. It's a COVID Lent. I guess that's what you'd call it. We're into a quarantine that is not Lenten, but it is COVID. But at the same time, it's going to affect our Lenten journey. And in thinking about that, I remembered an episode in my life that threw me, you might say, into a Lenten journey, but it was in the middle of August. And this journey happened when I was studying, by a tremendous gift of the community to me, in the Holy Land. And part of the Holy Land study program that I was in was a tour of several of the biblical historic places. And one of them is Sinai. And we were a group of about 11. I was one of the elders. And this was a few years ago, but not that many, but I was elder. And Sinai, if you are interested, I think is about 7,000 feet above sea level. So going up and coming down the mountain of Sinai is a trek. I'm a walker, but I'm not a climber. So I had no idea what this was going to entail. And just to show you how naive I was, I never even questioned that I maybe shouldn't do this. I wanted to go to Sinai really badly. And so I just signed up. And part of my desire to go to Sinai is that for several years, I had a fascination with Moses. And that was because, I think, Moses was called to be a leader, and he had no guidebook, no training on leadership. And that's the way I felt when I was called to leadership. I had no training, no handbook that said, okay, this is what you do in this case, and this is what you do in that case. And so I started reading a lot about Moses, and I felt a kinship with him. And I used to talk to him and tell him, come on, help me with this. So in this group of 11 tourists, we weren't tourists, we were a study group. We had two guides. The front guide was always in the front, and then there was a rear guide. And to be honest, I got to know the rear guide very well because I was always at the end of the line, going up and coming down. The rear guide's name was Moshe. I think that's how you pronounce it. He was a young Arab, a wonderful, wonderful man. And his name meant Moses. Now, isn't that a lovely coincidence? And I was very happy that I would be spending time with this particular guide. Anyway, we got up there, and it was a gorgeous, sunny day. It was absolutely fantastic. And we were up on the top of the mountain for about half an hour to an hour, and praying and singing and just being quiet. And then it was time to go down to lunch. And so we all got on our walking shoes and headed down the mountain. And I have, or had at that time, a bad knee, a very bad knee, and I had no idea how hard it is to go downhill with a bad knee. Because as I say, I'm not a climber. And on flat surface, you feel it a little, but nothing like when you're going downhill. Well, very soon, I realized that this was going to be tough, really tough. And sooner or later, there were just 3 of us. All the others had gone ahead. And Moses, Musha, and I, and a wonderful, actually he was a bishop, an Irish bishop in South Africa, and he was on this course. So the 3 of us painfully, for me, started walking down the mountain. When we were on the boulders, it wasn't so bad, but when we hit the path, it was slippery. There was a lot of pebbles, and you'd slip and slide, and that was torture. So gradually, I was getting very, very tired, very discouraged. And I could feel myself just going down, down, down in my spirits, but not in the body. And I realized that I was getting to a point where I just didn't know if I could keep going. And I didn't know what I was going to do because there's no buses on Sinai. And my 2 guides, they were with me all the time. I kept saying, you go ahead, go have lunch. And I can see the monastery. There's a monastery at the bottom of Sinai, and that's where we were heading. And I said, I can see it, I can get there, I won't get lost. But they would not leave me, which was very wise. So anyway, I began to get into a state which I have never been in before, and probably not since, of I can't do it. I can't make it. I don't know what to do. Moses was putting his hand out to help me, and I would take it. But every little creak on the pathway, and I'd ouch, ouch, ouch. So anyway, it was a very painful journey down that mountain. And I knew that it was only by God's grace that I was able to make it with my 2 guides. And we gradually made it. We finally got into the little refectory where they were having lunch, and they all clapped. Oh, we're all together now. They were trying to figure out how they were going to get us down, but we didn't know that. So anyway, that afternoon, I just wanted to stay prone and rest. But it happened that it was the Feast of All Saints. And, it wasn't August, it was November. And it was the Feast of All Saints. And the monastery, the Orthodox monastery of St. Catherine's, is closed most of the time. But they were going to let our group in for the afternoon office. So this was a big deal, and I really wanted to be there. So all of us showed up to go into St. Catherine's Monastery for the afternoon office. Now, the office in our monastery in the afternoon is about 10 minutes, 12 minutes maybe. Well, that's not the way it is in the Orthodox Church. The office was about 2 hours. And I thought, this is going to be hard. Well, and of course, I don't understand the prayers because it's all in Greek. And I was just there. But towards the middle and then at the end, all the way from the middle to the end, there was this constant refrain, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Then a few more words, then Kyrie eleison. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. And I found myself getting totally immersed in the mercy of God. And it was like rain coming down on me. It was like total refreshment, total strength, total grace. It really was like grace. And that, I realized, is what the mercy of God is. It's grace that immerses us and allows us to be united with God, especially in our weakness and in our end of the ropeness. And that's the message I'd like to share with you. Because this COVID, for some people, is like a desert. And for some, it's like going down a mountain with a bad knee. It hurts. We miss our families, we miss our gatherings, we miss our socialization. And more than that, we miss those who are sick and who have died. This is pain. This is really pain in our journey. And I can't promise you that Moses is going to show up, but each one of us probably does have a Moses in our lives who will help us. But we know that we have God, and we know that God's mercy is always available to us. We may not know exactly how it will come, how we will experience it, but I urge all of us to trust in the mercy of God, especially during these days of Lent. God is with us, even in our dark moments, even when we think we can't keep going. God is with us. Kyrie eleison. Remember that? God is with us, and God's mercy surrounds us.